Good day and welcome to another broadcast of Venture Capital Fund. In the event that you're joining me for the first time, my name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant by profession. I'm a humanitarian by nature, and I'm the multiple best-selling author for several books, including Billionaire Codes and Manager's Toolkits. These two books are already bestsellers. I want to encourage you to log on to our website, sister company website, which is www.megamoneygy.com. At the front of that website, you will see these books. You can make a purchase online. You can also navigate shopping. And when you navigate shopping, you will learn so much about the different programs that we are offering. You can also make direct contact with me, and we'll be happy to get these books on your desk. Now, today we want to talk about a very interesting topic. I want us to look at the psychology of good debt. The psychology of good debt. Good debt is a mindset, and we see this largely because of the fact that good debt just doesn't happen. You have to have a mindset, and that mindset means that you need to know what are the precise steps that you need to take in terms of creating good debt. So we're going to examine that today. So moving forward, you should have a better working knowledge and a clearer interpretation of exactly what is good debt. So the first topic that we're going to be looking at here today is what we're going to call good debt capital leverage. Now, what exactly is good debt capital leverage? And let's talk about this a little bit. Good debt enables you to leverage capital as performing asset that gives you positive income cash flow. Let me repeat this. Good debt enable you to leverage capital as performing asset that gives you positive income cash flow. And this is something that you need to take the time and just digest it to ensure that you understand it. Because this is about taking a debt and up leveling that debt in a way where it becomes performing asset. And the performing asset now gives you positive income cash flow. Now, this is something that you have to learn. And I will go through some steps here that will help you to better understand how you should go about creating good debt as against bad debt. Now, let me make a couple of statements that might strike many persons by surprise, but it is the truth. You know, many of you have your home and you see your home as an asset. Your home is not an asset. Your car is not an asset. Your business is not an asset. Unless your business is performing asset that is giving you positive income cash flow. Your home, your car, your business, they are not a home unless they are giving you, unless they are performing assets and they're giving you positive income cash flow. Yes, I know that might strike many persons as a surprise because you invest in your house, your home, you invest in your business, you invest in purchase a car, you see the car as an asset. The car is a depreciating asset. But worse than it being a depreciating asset, it is a liability once you're going into your pocket month after month to cover the cost of that debt. So you're going into your personal income cash flow and into your savings to cover that debt. The same principle applies to your home and the same principle applies to your business. There are many persons today who are in business and you are not even breaking even. All right, you're not breaking even. And this is one of the reasons why we're saying there are smart ways to create debt and there are bad ways to create debt, because you take a debt from the financial institution and you have monthly obligation with those debt, but your business is not cash flowing well enough to cover the cost of the debt, cover the cost of business operation, and put some profit in your pocket. So that is definitely a bad debt. And these are things that you should be able to predetermine. And then we look at some of those predeterminances now. And failing to do this, it means that you are likely to be creating a bad debt. So, so you learn this. Your home is not an asset. Your car is not an asset. Your business is not an asset, unless they are performing assets that are giving you positive income cash flow. All right, good debt gives you debt leverage. Debt leverage enables you to build economic wealth and financial freedom. I'm going to repeat this. Good debt enables you to get debt leverage, and debt leverage enables you to build economic wealth and financial freedom. So if the debt that you're buying, the debt that you're creating is not doing this for you, it's going to be a bad debt. And we're going to look some more about that tomorrow. Now, I want to talk a little bit now about what we call good debt leverage are systems that you have to learn. All right. Good debt leverage, they are systems that you have to learn. And we're going to look at two things here in looking at those systems. We're going to look at system one that we're going to call debt asset pre-qualification or debt pre-qualification. And we're going to look at debt leverage pre-qualification. So these are two systems that you really need to take the time, the talent, and the resources to ensure that you understand. Now, first of all, to get access to debt, in most cases, you're going to go to the commercial financial sector. But to get access to debt, all right, they are pre-qualification. And you need to know those pre-qualifications, because failing to know those pre-qualifications, they're going to create barriers to you being able to access debt. And accessing debt can give you debt leverage. Debt leverage can give you an opportunity to build economical wealth and financial freedom. Smart people, wealthy people, they understand the process of debt and how to leverage debt. So let's go through some of those pre-qualification criteria. Pre-qualification, one is what we call equity and bank balance. Well, positive bank balance. What do I mean by this? Now, when you're going to access a debt, one of the first things the financial institution will ask you for is to show your equity in the debt that you want to borrow. And by equity, that means if you want to borrow $100 million, they're going to ask you for 10%. So you need to perhaps have $10 million in equity, either in cash or in fixed asset. All right. So you can, these are some of the things that you can actually do. But you need to have cash, which will come under a positive bank balance, or it can come the equity in the case of, let us say, a land. The land may value $25 million. They want 10% of the equity. The possibility exists that the land asset, the equity in the asset that you have owned in the asset, the land asset, can be leveraged as your 10% equity in the debt portfolio. So you need to be able to show things like this when you go into the financial institution to buy a debt, to be able to leverage a debt, to be able to get positive equity leverage, and to be able to build economic wealth and financial freedom. When you come into our masterclass, we go deeper into these things to give you a better understanding. So step one is equity and what we call a positive bank balance. The second thing that you need to ensure that you have is what we call a positive cash flow. Now, what exactly do I mean by a positive cash flow? It means that you must be, one, gainfully employed and show a fair degree of consistency in how you're working and how you're earning. The bank, financial institution will look at that. The second thing that can happen, you have a business and you may have 2, 3, 4, 5 years of income expenditure statement and perhaps audited reports. The bank will look at all of this and they can leverage all of this as part of your pre-qualification criteria. Now, mind me, if you don't reach these pre-qualification criteria, it's one of the reasons why so many young business owners and so many persons fail to be able to access funding from the banks. All right, so you need to make sure that you know this and you position yourself to be in a positive light when it comes to these pre-qualification criteria. The second thing that third thing that I want us to look is what we're going to call a positive credit score. Yes. Today in developing economies, credit score is now becoming more visible, although it has been in the countries for many years. There are still many persons when we talk about credit score, they are a bit surprised about what credit score is. Some people are completely unaware of what the credit score rating is and how it can impact their their lives, personally and professionally. It will influence financial institutions' decision to lend monies to you, and along with this, in the developed world, it goes forward with this because you go to rent a house, to rent an apartment, they're going to run your credit score, and if your credit score shows up bad, you're not going to even get a place to rent. All right, you're not going to get a place to rent because yes, you might be able to pay the first month and pay perhaps the security deposits, but the person that's renting to you is going to ask himself, when that cycle ends, would you be able to consistently be able to handle your debt? So these are all part of the pre-qualification criteria that you need to be aware of when you are putting yourself in the position to be able to create that, to be able to leverage that, to be able to, up level that and into performing asset. And performing asset is giving you positive income cash flow. You need to understand these things when you're going to be working with the commercial financial sector. All right. So the fourth pre-qualification that I'm going to look at today is what we call age, and age do matters when you are going to source funding from financial institution. In my experience in dealing with people that are seeking financing, we see that they tell a story that when they were 35, they didn't have the disposable income or they didn't have the 10% equity or the 15% equity or the 20% equity to invest in real estate ownership and home ownership. But now that they are 45, 46, 47, 50, they now are able to accumulate that kind of fund. But at that age, all right, it's not that you wouldn't get the funding, but the life cycle of the debt will be shorter. And because the life cycle of the debt is going to be shorter, the monthly installment to cover the cost of that debt will be higher. And that, in a sense, depending on which social strata you're in, which economic class you're in, it could be a struggle for many, many persons to be able to pay high monthly installment. In fact, that in itself can disqualify them when the financial institution do the analysis and recognize that when you take away overhead expenses, the balance sheet doesn't reach the necessary, enough to make a solid impression on the bank. So this again may affect you. Now there are ways in which you could work around this. There are legal, legitimate things that you can do to mitigate this process. But here's where you need to talk to a PFA, a professional financial advisor, a personal financial advisor that can navigate you through some of these rough terrains of financing. You need to understand this. Again, when you come to our masterclass, these are things that we really work with you to help you to understand and how to create that first of all, how to manage that, how to leverage that, and in such a way that you know how to up level it into performing performing asset, and how to make performing asset a sustainable, continuous, positive income cash flow machine. It's all about financial intelligence. It's all about the psychology of of good debt, the psychology of money. You need to understand this. It's a mindset, all right? And once you understand this and get the mindset working right, I want to show you that you will be able to do so much more better in your life and financially. The last thing that I'm going to talk about on this equation of the pre-qualification criteria is something that we're going to call again collateral. Having excessive collateral wouldn't hurt, it will definitely help. So if you can clearly demonstrate that you have a positive bank balance or you have equity, you can show that you have positive income cash flow, perhaps from more than one sources. If you can show that your credit score is good, if you can show that you might be age, you're within the right age or you're over the right age, but you understand what you're doing and you take the right steps so as to ensure that age doesn't compromise you from accessing debt, the positive cash flow. These are things that you can do. And even more so, a little bit more collateral wouldn't help. If we can show all of these things, it will serve to go very far away in giving your lender, your investors, the accredited investors, greater confidence in you. So this is something that you want to work on to be able to build confidence and trust and credibility in the eyes of the people that are going to be investing with you and working with you. All right. Now, what we have just looked at is what we call the debt asset pre-qualification criteria or the debt pre-qualification criteria. To create debt, you must go through the cycle I've just talked about, especially if you're going to the commercial bank. Now, what I want us to look at now is what we're going to call the debt leverage pre-qualification criteria. Now, this is a new model, a model that we have developed, and we say to all of our clients, don't take a debt until you understand that debt and all the realities surrounding the debt. And let me give you an example. One of the first things that we look at is your income projection. And in looking at your income projection, you want to ensure that when you develop an income projection, it is a realistic income projection. Now, we talk about this in other podcasts. You find it very often when people go to do their income projection and they are not doing any primary market research. That means you don't have concrete information about the potential of the market to cash flow, the business to cash flow. You're not doing secondary market research. And again, you don't have the data. What you're doing is something that we call speculative analysis. And what speculative analysis means is that you sit on your ivory tower, you sit in your office and you simply speculate that this person looks as though they're doing good business and you think that you should do a similar type of business in order to cash flow and not doing all of the hard market analytics. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. So these are things that we go through with you. So the income projection must be able to be based on primary research. There's something else that we're going to call, so that's for us is one of the pre-qualification. Your income projection must be based on solid information. Your expenditure projection, that one is a little bit more easy because about the human resource that you're going to need to support you in moving the project or the business forward. So those are things that you can look at. You have fixed assets, you fixed overheads, and operational expenses that you're going to be dealing with. So you can actually deal with that. Now, it is this fixed and operational overheads which represents your expenditure. And when you remove the expenditure, deduct the expenditure from the income, you're going to be having something you call the net operating income, or what should be your balance sheet. Now, many persons can go through this entire cycle because in doing a financial projection, you have all of this in there: income projection, expenditure projection, um, your balance sheet or NOI. You may not see the ROI because it's not normally there, but we look at ROI, which we call the return on investment, and that is something that we go deep into to help the client to better understand it. But you can come to all of this: income projection, expenditure projection, NOI, net operating income or balance sheet, and ROI, return on investment. You can go through all of this and still be speculative. And this is where you don't want to be. So the last thing that we bring you to at this level is what we call market analytics. And the market analytics is where we really work with you to help you to understand who your target market, the size of your target market, the density of your target market, the geographical dispersion of your target market, the competition in the market, how to differentiate your brand to make a stronger impact on the specific target market, and how to get, pre-customer buy-in long before you start the operation so you have guarantee buyers. So these are all strategic systems that will work with you and for you to understand before you actually go create that debt. So when you create a debt, you know that debt is a positive, is a good debt because you have done the groundwork, you have done the analytics, and you want to put yourself in this position of strength to be able to have this kind of information so as to avoid bad debt. Tomorrow we'll talk more about bad debt. So I trust that you understand the psychology of good debt and how to apply those systems to make better informed decisions. Now, I know that there are many people across the world, hundreds of thousands and millions of people who are taught to stay away from debt. And I want to say this to you. Staying away from debt is a poor mindset. All right. Now, going to debt also can be a poor mindset. It becomes a poor mindset because you don't understand how to leverage that debt. All right. And tomorrow we're going to go into a whole lot of different talking points as to what people do when they create debt. And a lot of people are able to access, debt, but what they do with those debt is very hurtful to themselves, is detrimental to themselves and their financial future. And those are things those are pitfalls, those are debt traps that you want to know enough about it to avoid it. All right. And to be able to do that, you have to be able to get the sweat equity in the game. You have to be able to get skin in the game. You have to be disciplined in committing to the time, the talent, and the resources to understand this body of knowledge. And you must be highly motivated in this whole process. All right. So I really trust that you enjoyed today's program. Now, again, I want to say if you are looking at this program for the first time and you have never liked or subscribed to this program, I want to encourage you to give us a thumbs up, and the subscription button is on our YouTube page. Just click that YouTube button so you will be the first to get this information on a daily basis. Now, my name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant again. I'm the multiple best-selling author for several books, including Billionaire Codes and Manager's Toolkit. These are two exciting books for you to read. I'm now doing my new book, which we call the Psychology of Branding and Marketing, and you don't want to miss out on this. Along with the book, we're going to mentor and coach and support you to have a better understanding of the systems that we have in the book. All right, so in closing, I want to say that our mission at Global Branding and Marketing and Venture Capital Fund, Venture Capital Inc., our mission is to position our clients, employees, and strategic partners to understand, create, and leverage passive income cash flow, build multiple streams of income, leverage smart investment strategies in order to build generational and intergenerational wealth. In our program, you will learn about the financial intelligence in the commercial financial sector, financial intelligence in the investment financial sector, financial intelligence in smart capital market, and financial intelligence for a sustainable livelihood. We will put tremendous emphasis on this, and that is to say that financial intelligence goes beyond your ability to make money and maximize your disposable income. It addresses the issue of understanding the global financial system and leveraging this intelligence to create good debt cash flow, minimize existing debt financial portfolio while maximizing financial and equity capital gain. The understanding of the commercial financial sector, the investment financial sector, and smart capital markets are an important body of knowledge for you to have in the global landscape of financial intelligence. Again, I want to encourage you to reach out to us. We have a team of PFA, professional financial advisors, personal financial advisors. We have a team of accountants, a team of economists, a team of business consultants with a combined knowledge of over 75 years that are here prepared to put their talent, all right, to work for you, to ensure that we can help you to leapfrog the growth and development of your business. Our skill sets can literally give your business a fighting chance to succeed and an opportunity to leapfrog. All right. So I trust you enjoyed today's program. We look at the psychology of good debt, and there's a difference between good debt and bad debt. We'll go through four important concepts in this series. You learn about good debt, bad debt. You learn about how the wealthy buy debt and how the wealthy manage and leverage debt. So we'll go through that over the next 4 days. So be blessed. It has been such a pleasure being with you today, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And remember, feel free to reach out to us for a free consultation. We look forward to see you on the other side. Be blessed.